Welcome to Digital Hospitality. I am your host, Sean Walchef. This is a Cali BBQ Media production. We believe deeply in what we call digital hospitality. It's our thesis we've been working on since 2017, since we launched our first show. We believe that all businesses need to be digital first, especially brick and mortar businesses. We also believe that every business is in the hospitality business, whether they know it or not. We also believe in the 4 C's: content, commerce, communication, and community. If you're new to this show, welcome. We're grateful to have you. Our job is to bring on the best hospitality professionals, the best technology professionals on earth so that you can get a seat at the table. You can learn what's happening, how to improve your business, and hopefully take something away, get a little bit uncomfortable. I am very honored today to bring Christin Marvin, who is part of our digital hospitality leadership ecosystem. We are so grateful to finally have you as a guest on the show. Christin, welcome.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you having me on.
So we're going to make a very exciting announcement. If you're watching on video, if you're watching on YouTube, above her left shoulder is her book, The Hospitality Leaders Roadmap. How cool is it to have your book above your shoulders in a podcast?
It's incredible. I just got it in the mail last week, and I've always compared restaurant openings to birth. I don't have children, so every time I've opened one of 13 restaurants, I'm like, this is childbirth for me. That book coming in the mail felt like childbirth. It's a process. This is the first book I've written. It's been a journey, and to finally have something tangible to hold and to show for it is just beyond words.
So let's talk about the subtitle. And the subtitle is The Hospitality Leaders Roadmap, moving from ordinary to extraordinary. When did you move from ordinary to extraordinary?
I think that's a great question. I think it's happened for me at a couple stages in my career. I think when I started to really invest in myself from a leadership development standpoint and become really, really curious about every aspect of leadership and every aspect of a restaurant, that level of engagement took me to a whole nother level. And that was when I really lent into the fact that hospitality was going to be a career for me. I was working at a 5-star, 5-diamond resort. I was in college. I just graduated from with a marketing degree, but I loved what I was doing at the resort. I was all in. I started to look for jobs in my field. They paid nothing. I had no idea exactly what I wanted to do in marketing. And I went to the food and beverage director and said, how do I do this long term? I'm all in here. And he said, you need to take this path. You need to start, you need to get involved in our management training program. And that turned me on to a course of just learning about wine and mixology and fine dining and opening a restaurant. And it just transformed me. That was the first time I think it happened.
And when it did happen, what started to open up for you?
Just possibilities. I'm a girl from a very small town in the Midwest, and dining was mostly, our experiences were mostly steakhouse experiences if we went out. And I think my first experience in the fine dining world showed me that you could offer a level of, I didn't even know what hospitality was, but that you could really offer a level of hospitality to people that was above and beyond anything that they could even expect. Being and learning, and I was 24 years old when I was at the stage of my career, learning about French wine and Italian wine and food and pairing everything. I mean, I discovered culture, and it just opened me up to this world of different perspectives and appreciation and elegance and beauty in the details. And it just changed the way that I kind of viewed everything.
So you have 3 Bibles above your right shoulder. 2 of them I recognize.
Yep.
What is the top book?
Positive Intelligence.
Positive Intelligence by who?
Shirzad Shemaine. This is so
There it
awkward for
is.
me to figure
Okay.
out which, yeah,
Which shoulder I'm
which
talking about?
direction I'm going. Yeah.
So there's
Yeah.
obviously Setting the Table by Danny Meyer and Unreasonable Hospitality.
Yeah.
Um, Both phenomenal Bibles for our hospitality industry. But
Yeah.
tell me about the top book.
You know what? This is so funny, actually, that these three books are on the shelf because this morning, I had both of these shelves loaded up with books that have really made an impact in my career as a restaurant leader and now as an entrepreneur. And one of the shelves was starting to lean and I thought it was going to collapse. So I took those books off. They're sitting on my right. So there's a stack of 10 more. But it's funny that these three remain. Danny Meyer was obviously a huge influence for me in my early 20s. And I ended up buying his book and training my team on it. After opening concept after concept. Will's book, obviously, I feel like I see it and I hear it every day from everybody, in multiple industries across social media. But positive intelligence was something, and mental fitness that kind of, play in together for me. This is a journey that I went on after I decided to make the decision to get out of operations. I was completely burnt out and I was working with a coach to figure out what my next move was going to be in my career. I loved hospitality. I wanted to stay connected to it, but I was completely burnt out. My mindset was completely shot. I was really becoming a victim. And through my coaching, working with a coach and then starting to study coaching and taking my courses, I learned about the concept of positive intelligence and saboteurs, which are characters that kind of contribute to all of your negative thoughts and cause all of your stress and your anxiety and your frustration. And so learning about these concepts, I kind of took a deep dive into positive intelligence, started studying Shirzad's work, took his course, and have really fallen in love with how understanding these saboteurs, recognizing them and learning how to manage them can completely transform every single aspect of your life. And it's become true for me. And there's a lot of that in the book too. And that's a lot of the work that I do with my clients is really helping them become self-aware of what is standing in their way of helping them become the most successful and the most happy and the most fulfilled they can be in their worlds of restaurants.
When did you learn how to become a writer? Because you gave me an advanced copy of the book. The writing is phenomenal. You bring
Thanks.
us right into the story. I appreciate good storytelling and lessons learned through stories. When did you learn how to write?
I've never been a writer. I've never journaled. I've never considered myself a good writer. Part of starting my company, Solutions by Christin, almost 2 years ago, that my main mission is to provide as many leadership development resources as possible to people in the industry because I think that they are severely lacking. And I believe that if you want to be successful in this industry, you need to figure out how to do it on your own and not rely on your company or the leaders around you to do it. You need to be self-sufficient. So when I started the company, I just said, how am I going to reach a large audience? And you can appreciate this from a content standpoint. I was like, well, I'm going to start with social media. I'm going to start to tell my story. I'm going to see what resonates. And then I'm going to start, I guess, writing longer form, so newsletters. Let's see what I can do here.
Mm-hmm.
And again, what resonates. And it's kind of fun each week to dive in and go, okay, people liked this one, or they really didn't care about this one. And just kind of kept building and building and building. And I knew that I wanted to write a book. And so I used the newsletter weekly in just little 300 to 500 character articles to just kind of help me build some confidence to go on that journey. And I appreciate you saying that it's well written. You go through.
It is. I read a lot of books. I have a lot of authors. We've been doing this for 7 years now. So we have a lot of authors. And no, I appreciate the care that you took into vulnerably sharing some very dark parts about hospitality that a lot of people don't talk about.
Yeah.
Can you share with our audience here some of those stories?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's so many, points in this book that kind of point to those. I discovered drugs and alcohol in the industry when I was 19. My bar manager at the end of the night would serve me alcohol, and I don't think he knew how old I was, but that was just part of the culture, right? I was, again, very sheltered kid. I got in trouble for drinking a Zima at a prom And that was pretty much the extent. It had a Jelly Rancher in it, of course, Midwest.
There you go.
Here we are.
Hey, we did that in California. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So, I loved getting into the restaurant industry. It changed me not changed me, but it brought out the extrovert in a very introverted girl. And drugs and alcohol did that for me too. And I loved the lifestyle. I loved the camaraderie. I loved the teamwork. And so I got swept up in that in the beginning. And I was also, I kind of thought this is what the industry is. You have sex with your coworkers, you party with them after shift, and you just go back to work and you do the same thing over and over and over again every single night. As my career progressed, I really fell in love with studying and the certifications around becoming a sommelier, studying with bar smarts and studying mixology, working with mixologists out of New York. I met my husband in college doing a project on wine. And he ran off right after he graduated college and got a job with Southern Wine and Spirits selling wine to restaurants for 15 years, worked for a couple other companies too. So beverage was very much just in our routine. It was our hobby. We were constantly going to new restaurants. We were in that community. We were, all of our friends were in the food and beverage industry. And we don't have kids, like I said earlier. So happy hours were a daily occurrence for us. He would bring home a bag of 6 bottles of open wine. And before Coravin was a thing, we killed those bottles before they went bad, right? Or cooked with them or did both. So we had always been really, really social, but something had happened with me where I transitioned out of independent restaurants and I moved into more of the chain world. And I kind of did that not knowing what was happening and from a place of just being naive. But I realized over the years and the journey that I went on in leadership in one of those companies, I had lost my creativity, my empowerment, and the ability to make decisions for my team that I wanted to and focus on what I wanted from a company standpoint, not just the KPIs. And I was starting to lose myself. I was starting to lose my voice a little bit. And these things happen when you grow from 6 to 48 locations over 7 years. These things happen, right? I understand why we moved at the space we did, the pace we did, why we implemented all these systems. But I hadn't experienced it at the time. So anyway, fast forward, finding myself miserable. Rather than continuing to invest in myself from a leadership perspective, I chose a victim mentality. I chose to drink really heavily to cover up all the stress that I was feeling and the unhappiness and just not deal with it. And that just snowballed and that turned into a couple of years. And I tried to switch jobs and kind of get out of it, but I wasn't letting myself become aware of what the real problem was. It wasn't the alcohol, right? It could have been pot. It could have been cocaine. It could have been anything. Could have been ice cream. Could have been anything. It was the fact that I was really unhappy and that I wasn't tapping into my values and serving my purpose. And as soon as I discovered that, everything changed for me. My husband had also been drinking really, really heavily because we're a very competitive couple. So that meant on every level. And we came home from vacation one day. I looked at myself in the mirror. I was completely disgusted. This is kind of how the book starts. And I just didn't recognize myself anymore. And I finally gave myself the space to say, you need to wake the fuck up. You need to get some help. And then an hour later, my husband had a seizure from DTs, from alcohol withdrawal. And that sent us on a course of finding our journey to sobriety together and completely redesigning our lifestyle and starting over, which for us meant packing up everything, selling our dream house, moving to a completely different city, and starting over from scratch. And it's been the best decision we've ever made.
Hey everyone, Avi Gorin, CEO and co-founder of Marquee, and I want to talk about the customer journey for a second. You never know as a restaurant owner where your guests are truly coming from. End of the day, we do see some patterns around 2 types of search behaviors: direct versus discovery. direct search, for an example, would be jumping into Google and saying Cali barbecue hours, right? I know where I want to go to eat, but I'm missing a key detail. I need a little bit more information. Discovery, which is the bulk of searches, is barbecue in San Diego, restaurants near me, takeout near me, right? One of the best ways to be found for more discovery searches is leveraging keywords. Reviews are basically free content for you to leverage. Think about keywords that are relevant to your brand, your location, and include as many of those in your review responses as possible, right? How can you go about doing this? Let's set up reports, utilize tools like Google Trends, find out what's going on in your area and how you can help leverage these keywords and review responses, because someone else is doing that, right? If you need some examples, you could do anything from including summer menu, gluten-free menu, leverage specific menu items like the dreaded and beloved spice pumpkin anything in your review responses, right? Let them know what's coming. Let your reviewers know something they should come back and try. And of course, if all of this just seems overwhelming and daunting because you're already running a restaurant and have enough on your plate, just leverage the team at Marquee to do this for you. We handle all of this. We're experts in this space. We can automate this so it's just another item that you know you are taking care of. Again, that's marquee.com, marquii.com. Know you. However, we did recently buy marquii.com. So if you do misspell it, we got you. You'll still find us. We can still help you.
The results are in. National Restaurant Association show. Kyle and Sarah and myself, we were at the Davos sales tax booth and we were polling restaurant owners on the floor. This was a very unscientific poll, but the results are resounding. Restaurant owners do not like sales tax. Nobody likes sales tax. Doesn't matter what business owner you are, small business, big business. Davo automates the sales tax process. We are so grateful that Davo is the sponsor of this show. They automate sales tax at our Cali barbecue restaurants. It is $50 a month. It integrates with all the major point of sale partners, including Toast. So if you want to sleep at night, if you want to not worry about sales tax, go to Davo, check them out, Davo Sales Tax. Let us know how they're helping automate your sales tax in your restaurant so that we can share your Davo story on digital hospitality. Wow, that's very powerful. I didn't realize the extent. Your husband's name's Tyler, correct?
Yeah.
Just making sure I got that right.
Yeah.
The book is dedicated to Tyler. I know book dedications mean a lot. Can you talk about why you dedicated it to him?
Yeah, I haven't really talked about this yet, so this is kind of emotional. I didn't tell him I was dedicating the book to him, and it came in the mail last week, and he looked at it and he just lost it. I think anybody that's out there, that whether you're a restaurateur or entrepreneur, when you start a business, it means the world to have somebody by your side that supports you 110%. Through the good days and the bad days, and who can sit down financially with you and go, okay, this is gonna take me a couple of years to build. I don't know. I have confidence I can do this, but this entire world is new, and to have him say, we got it. I got you, whatever you need. And listen to me during the hard days. We actually had a brainstorming session last night where I'm constantly trying to think about, how do I take this to the next level? How do I make this sustainable? What's my next move? Where does the time and energy go? And he's got a wonderful background in sales, again, from the wine world. He's learned so much. And just having somebody who is just all in with you. He doesn't understand fully what I do, but he does on a lot of levels. And he's just a champion for me. When we're out anywhere, listening to him talk about what I do is hilarious. And we had to rehearse in the car a lot when I was starting, trying to find my elevator pitch. But it's a really cool experience. And we've always been really strong partners for each other and best friends. And so to have that person in your corner just means everything.
When did you decide to go all in with your podcast? And what have you learned podcasting?
I think again, when I started to build out this business model and understand that I was going to need to create different revenue streams if I was going to make this sustainable. Very quickly, I think I learned if I was just going to go client by client with coaching, I might potentially drive myself nuts and show up desperate. I didn't want to do that. And so podcasting felt like a beautiful way to engage with people from this industry and tell stories. Very much like you, I'm very passionate about storytelling, and I understand the value of it from all the years I've spent in the industry. I just thought this was a really cool opportunity to give people a platform to be really vulnerable and talk about really challenging things and just get real. And I have, I'd seen a few podcasts out there, but I wanted to speak more about the non-alcoholic movement, mindset, leadership development, how people are investing in themselves. And once I started, I think when I first launched, I said, okay, I'm going to start with 10 episodes. I'm going to launch with that. I'm going to really get ahead of this. And I've just published episode 51.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you. It's incredible, but the community that you build with podcasting, as you know, is beautiful. I mean, I've got a lot of people that I ask are like, yeah, that sounds exciting. Or some of them say, I don't even know what a podcast is, which is still mind boggling to me, right? Because it's such my world now and how I learn. But I've also got a lot of people that are just really scared to come on. And I don't know if you have that experience or not, but they're like, I can't tell my story.
Sure.
So it's a beautiful way to build community. And it also really pushed me out of my comfort zone. I didn't do video for a long time.
Good.
Yeah. I was listening to a talk that you did, or you were at a speaking engagement where you told everybody to take out their phone in the audience and record a quick video of them and then post it.
Yeah.
And at that moment I was like, Christin, you just need to get the fuck out of your way. just do it. Just jump into the deep end. I know that when you're uncomfortable, that's where growth happens. So I have to take my own advice sometimes.
Well, you're already a top 1% podcaster if you've gotten over 10 episodes. So congratulations, 50 episodes. And now you're a published author. Tell me about the book writing process. Did you self-publish? Did you have a publisher? How'd you go about it?
Yeah, I researched both. Just being very new to this entire world, I wasn't sure which direction I wanted to go. Really, traditional publishing they both have so many benefits, but I really wanted creative freedom over everything.
Yep.
And I really wanted this to feel authentic. And so I actually went down to Podfest. I don't know if you've been down there before.
I'm not.
It's a huge podcast
Awesome.
conference in January down in Orlando. And I went down there to figure out how I could make the podcast better, but I met selfpublishing.com.
Cool.
And had a great consultation with them and really loved their process, loved the support. The budget made sense for me. And I'm planning on publishing more books. And so
Awesome.
the framework that they provided was something I could really get behind. I love systems and I love structure. So I had 2 chapters written when I went down there. That was January. I immediately called my husband from the hotel lobby, and said, I want to do this. And he said, go for it. It's, let's go. And then I came home and I started writing the extra 34 chapters, the additional 34 chapters.
Amazing.
Got up at 5 a.m. For 3-4 months straight, cranked out the rest of the book. And then I went through the self-editing process, which was another round of 5 a.m. That took me about a month.
Mm-hmm.
And then I hired an editor, and we went through 5 or 6 more rounds of editing. And then self-publishing just helps kind of guide me through the rest of the process and get me, I just got off the call with them actually getting uploaded to Amazon and all that good stuff. So
amazing.
They're incredible. Yeah.
And now you've been doing reach out as well to go on other podcasts? Yeah.
So one of the cool things about selfpublishing.com, we're actually going to do a training together, LinkedIn Live event, but
Sweet.
October 21st.
Nice.
They give you again, in this framework, a 6-week kind of soft launch process and then a launch process. So that includes getting a ton of reviews, building a review launch team, getting yourself on, they say, I think they say 30 or 40 podcasts. I'm going to shoot for 50.
Awesome.
And then, there's some promo sites you can get on. There's, I'm kind of reaching out anywhere to see if there's publications out there that would want to cover it. Doing launch parties in Denver and Tucson for
Sweet.
it. And just trying to really tap into my community and see who wants, who would be willing and wanting to share this message with their audience.
What do you think has been your biggest takeaway from this entire process? Like being here now, being on this show, having the book behind you, getting ready to get into full promo mode, launch mode. What's your biggest takeaway?
There is nothing I can't do. I have been having so much fun in this creative space, reinventing myself and hearing from people like, I love the show. I took away this. I love this resource. Thank you for showing me this or introducing me to this. It's working and it's awesome. I know that you fully support it. And it's a really, this is just a beautiful way to do business in this day and age. And I love the creativity and I love the empowerment of it. And every time I do something fun and exciting, I just sit back and go, okay, what's next? What am I going to do next? How am I going to reinvent myself? So it's been an awesome journey. I'm having a blast.
Well, we're huge supporters of everything that you do. Anybody that's listening to this show, if you're watching this show, we have a community on LinkedIn Live every Wednesday, every Friday, 10 a.m. Pacific time, 1 p.m. Eastern time, 6 p.m. London time, wherever you are in the world. We want you to join us on stage. It's a chance for you to be on a podcast. So you can raise your hand, tell us about your restaurant, if you're in sales, if you're in marketing, if you're a content creator. We have digital hospitality leaders from all walks of life, but we would love for you guys to join us. If you want to learn more about Christin and buy her book, where should they go?
October 15th, it will be available on Amazon.
October 15th on Amazon. Amazing.
Yep. And I just want to plug 10% of sales from October 15th through the remainder of 2024 will go to benefit Chow. We are on a mission to support wellness in the hospitality industry and provide mental health and substance abuse resources to those in the industry. So chowco.org.
That's amazing. Please go buy her book. It's phenomenal writing. I am so impressed with the work that you've done. Her podcast is phenomenal. No Hesitations podcast. Subscribe to that. Where are you most active on social?
LinkedIn.
What's your favorite? LinkedIn's your digital playground? All right.
Yeah. We'll
put a link into the digital for your LinkedIn feed. Anything else any parting words of wisdom you'd like to leave our audience with?
I just appreciate you and fully support what you're doing and love the community that you're building too. And thanks for letting me be a part of your ecosystem.
Oh, you're a leader. We're so grateful for your voice. We can't wait to see what you do next. And we're here to support whatever the community can do to help sell more books, get in front of more restaurant people. Keep up the good, amazing work. We're proud of you.
Thanks, Sean.